Mums at the Table. You're with Shona and myself, Rachel. We've got lots coming up on the show today.
Okay, question for you. This came off the Facebook page. One of the mums wants to know white noise. Did you leave a vacuum cleaner or a music?
So white noise when
the white
babies are
noise
sleeping.
when the baby's asleep.
Yeah, like I always assumed I'd just be that mum who would have the doors open and there would be noise and people could come in and my baby would sleep anywhere. This was my idealistic thought before I had children. But I didn't realise what an awful sleeper my first child would be. And my sleep became precious. So when she wasn't sleeping, I wasn't. So I wasn't getting any. So I just became precious about sleep. And we lived in this old fisherman's shack and we knew every floorboard and where to step and how it would creak. So we'd like ninja tiptoe around the house. It was terrible.
Did you sleep when she slept? Did you do that for a little while?
Sometimes. You have to do it a little bit, but sometimes you just want, you know, some time to yourself. So not all the time,
Not all the time.
And because she slept in such short bursts, like 20 to 40 minutes all day or all night, like it was never a long stretch.
Right.
It was horrendous.
So so your idea was to be able to leave it on. So did you used to have to creep around the house?
We crept around the house. She listened to a lot of Rod Stewart. So we played a lot of music to try and drown out our floorboards, in our old home. But now that, you know, that was just our first child. The other ones subsequently, we just have noise. Doors are open. They go to sleep with doors open. We're not, you know, we're not precious about that.
Yeah, no, same. Both mine, we were able to sleep through the vacuum cleaner, and I was pretty lucky. Once they went to sleep, they would sleep through things. Getting them to sleep, however, was a different story. But different topic. Yeah.
I know, it is funny though, because it's those loud bursts of noise, those shocking noises that tend to wake them up. They seem to be fine with all the white noise, the vacuum cleaner, you know, the music or whatever. But if there's this loud burst all of a sudden,
they're wide awake.
That gets us as adults too, you know.
It
so
does.
that's what sort of disrupts that. So yes, I'm a big fan of white noise, all that sort of stuff. I mean, that's what they're used to in the womb, aren't they? Like, there's a lot of noise going on in there. Have you not heard the ultrasound? Like, woof, woof. You know, there's heaps of... Probably not.
Not for a while.
Not technically correct.
Not for a while.
But there's a lot of noise in there and that's what they're used to. So I just sort of had the idea to keep that going when they came out. Yeah.
Oh, well, write in and tell us what you do with your babies, whether you have white noise or whether you leave a vacuum cleaner or you're
deathly silent.
Deathly silence like Rachel. Let us know on our Facebook page, Mums at the Table.
Hey, if you're new or just joining us at Mums at the Table, please like, share and subscribe and keep it locked right here. We're talking about tongue-tied. It's an issue that some of our mums in our closed Facebook group have talked about and raised questions about should they have the surgery or not.
It's an interesting question to ask, and this is where it's really important that we utilise the whole team that comes around having a new baby on board, because tongue tie is something that can be identified really early in a bub's life, sometimes in the first day or two, sometimes in the first week or two.
Can I just go back and say, what is tongue tie?
So tongue tie is when there's a little bit of skin underneath the tongue that's a bit thicker or doesn't allow the tongue to move properly. And that can have really big implications in terms of the ease that a baby can breastfeed, the ease that a baby can latch onto the breast and then feed effectively. So this can be a really massive deal because feeding your baby feels like it ought to be one of the most natural things in the world. And the experience of a lot of women is that it's the hardest thing that they've ever had to do.
And then they find out later on that their baby was tongue-tied, so they're dealing not only with hormones, but the fact that their baby might need surgery. What happens if they don't have the surgery? Or what happens if the mum decides that...
So you can manage tongue-tie without surgery. It's really important that we enlist the help of a good lactation consultant, and places like the Australian Breastfeeding Association can be really helpful in terms of pointing you in the right direction. The problem with tongue tie is that babies can't latch properly, and so, but then babies aren't born knowing how to breastfeed. Mums don't deliver a baby and instantly know how to breastfeed. So this is something that babies can learn and mums can learn in terms of different positions and those sorts of things for breastfeeding.
Right, so get some help and get some support.
Utilise the
Don't give up. Don't give up trying to breastfeed.
Absolutely.
So with the surgery, what are the long-term impacts of having a child undergo this surgery for tongue tie?
So it's a really simple procedure. It's not a massive deal, but it's also by the same token, you don't want to do anything to your child that they don't really need. And so the key things that I would be looking for is if your baby wasn't drinking appropriately, not getting decent wet, not getting the usual number of wet nappies that they have, not soaking them through, and in the early days we keep a really close eye on Bub's weight to make sure that they're gaining weight appropriately.
Because obviously it affects their intake. So
Absolutely.
you want to make sure that your baby's able to eat. Does it affect their speech later on in life, or
generally Generally it doesn't affect their speech later in life, but in a few cases it can. But those are the exception rather than the rule.
So the thing I get here is to make sure baby's healthy. If they're losing weight,
then go and see your doctor and look into getting an experienced person to fix your tongue tie.
Great advice. So important that you get the professional help that you need.
Meal routines and should kids snack? That's our topic today with Amanda, our dietitian and nutritionist. And if you like these sort of topics for you and your family, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook. I'm excited. I love seeing all this. We're all confused. Parents are confused about how kids should eat.
Yeah.
You know, like, should they be snacking? What are your thoughts?
Yes. Well, it's a great question. So we know that children have small tummies, particularly younger children, and they tend to fill up really quickly. They also have high nutritional needs for growth, and they need a lot of energy for all the running and playing that they do. So most children tend to be able to manage 3 small meals as well as 2 to 3 snacks each day.
I can see what you've got here.
Yeah, rather than having 3 large meals. So that's what I've got here.
That looks awesome.
Just to give you an idea of what it might look like.
So is this what a kid's food should look like for the day?
Yeah. So for the day, so here we have breakfast.
Okay.
We've got some whole grain porridge with lots of berries on top.
Porridge and berries, okay.
Whole grains give them lots of fibre and...
My kids would eat that because they love porridge.
Yeah, great.
Kids love porridge.
Yes.
So, and having the fruit on there I think is awesome.
Yeah, and the fruit gives them lots of vitamins and minerals as well. And then for morning tea, we have some yogurt and some more fruit. So they get their calcium from the yogurt and then, of course, more vitamins and minerals from the fruit.
And it looks like a little rainbow, so it's exciting for them. I like that.
Yeah, it looks very appetising.
It does.
I would eat it.
It does, definitely. We all commented on this before we started, so... And here we got the sandwiches.
Yes, so this is lunch. So we have some whole grain sandwiches with some cheese on them, and we also have a range of salad as well.
And I think this is really important because I think a lot of parents or mothers, especially with lunch boxes at school, they make things so difficult. Like, what should I make for my child? But this is very simple.
Yeah, it only
this
needs
is a
to be
sandwich.
simple.
Tomatoes, some cucumber, corn. It's easy.
Yeah, that's right. They're still getting in some serves of vegetables as well as their whole grains.
Awesome.
And then here we have afternoon tea. So we have some whole grain biscuits with some cheese on top.
Nice. And dinner.
And dinner, we have a lentil lasagna and then lots of veggies as well.
My kids love lentil lasagna. I've got a good recipe for that, and you can find that on our Facebook page, or actually you can find it on our website too. Yeah. That's awesome. I love this. Okay, that's awesome. So should kids snack during the day?
Yes. So they should snack because
okay.
snacks are actually a really important way for kids to get all the nutrients that they need for the day, and it's hard for them to get everything they need without snacks.
Okay, so they should be having little bits and pieces.
Yeah, so just 2 to 3 small snacks, and if it's a younger child, they might need to have 3 snacks and have something like milk before they go to bed.
Okay. You know what? I love this idea because I get to see it. It's a visual, like... Here you could sort of see we've got the breakfast, we've got the lunch, a little snack. It doesn't have to look exactly like this, but at least we've got a good visual.
Yes.
I really love what you've done. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Problem.
We'll see you next time with some more tips.
Hey, if you're just joining us, be sure to subscribe to Mums at the Table. I'm sitting here with Rach. We're going to be talking about how to keep kids safe online. Now, everyone's online, Rach.
Yes.
How can we make sure our kids are protected in the cyber world?
Well, I think that's the first problem, is that everyone is online. So that means the good players and the bad players are online. So first of all, is remembering that the internet is made up of people. all kinds of people, good people, bad people, same people who are in your neighborhood.
Yes.
And it's understanding that that you don't want to just think about the bad people being these others. We also can be these quote unquote bad people. We need to be good citizens online. We need to treat people the same way we treat them in person.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most mousiest, meekest person becomes, you know, this crazy keyboard warrior online.
I know you wrote an article about good digital citizens.
Yes.
What's that about? What is a good digital citizen? Because I think that would come into play when you're talking about, you know, people online, everyday people, our neighbours, our friends, our strangers and whatnot. So how can we be good digital citizens?
Well, I think we teach our kids manners all the time. It's just part of what we do as parents. We want them to be polite. We want them to treat people well. And I think it's teaching our kids the exact same things online, being a good citizen online, participating in this community, creating a great space online. And I think remembering that the internet is made up of people, as I've said, is that first step. Treating people with the same kindness that you would in the online space as you would in the real world. And
practice what you preach.
Exactly, because I think that our kids are copying us all the time. So sometimes we think our offline behavior is not going to impact the way our kids treat people online, but it will. If we're, you know, yelling at people in the car, being really impatient and treating people poorly in the real world, but then we expect our kids to be something different online, I think it's not reasonable.
Yeah, so how can we create boundaries, I guess, to protect our kids from people, I mean, online bullying seems to be a problem as well. So how do we create protection for our kids in that sense?
Yeah, I think it's just having the sense of kindness. But I think another area besides the bullying is predators that we often think about. This is one area where we want to keep our kids safe online. And we found that police officers have gone online, they've posed as children, and they found that online predators have a few things that they do in common.
What are some of those things that they do?
So they often will ask the kids, where do you keep your computer? Where's your phone? Are your parents letting you take it into a bedroom or a private place? So as parents, we know that we should keep those things out in open places. So mom and dad can be constantly over their shoulder just checking to see what's happening on the computer.
Have it in an accessible place.
Exactly, like a living room, you know, dining room, something like that. Another thing they're asking is if the parents have monitoring software anywhere on those devices, where it's just going to pop up words that shouldn't be there, you know, in a normal conversation. And they're also asking how involved the parents are in those conversations. Are your parents like checking on you? Are you able to talk to them about stuff?
We should encourage those conversations with our kids. Like, what are you doing online?
Exactly, and not making them feel scared to share something if something bad is happening, helping them to feel safe to have those conversations with us.
Thanks so much, Rach, for those great tips. I'm sure you will have learnt some awesome tips that will help you keep your kids safe online.
Okay, so entertainment, screen time, like it's a big topic, you know, no matter what sort of phase you're in, it just seems to always come up. But what are some of the ways to go beyond the screen to sort of help your kids entertain, you know, tick off all of those things? How do you go beyond that? How do you get past it?
You ask me?
Why not?
Look, I know we've got an article in this month's Mums magazine, and it talks about how you can have your kids reading.
Yes.
And I think that's a great way to get your kids away from the screen. So, you know, if they're going to spend an hour in front of the screen, then maybe 10, 15 minutes reading a book and then some more...
Shona, that ratio.
And then some more time outside. I mean, you can put them outside under a tree or something. They can read a book, they can eat something, they can go play, they can do whatever. I know, don't write into me. Totally unrealistic. That was the good mum.
Ooh, them fighting words. I like it.
I don't know how you get your kids away from screen time because my kids were not so much brought up on screen, but once we got back from overseas, they were that age where screen was everything. They had screens at school, screens at home. I just spent a lot of time talking to them about it.
And you make a really good point. Screens at home, screens at school. Like, it's everywhere now. It is part of their life. You know, this is a generation that is incredibly fluent when it comes to, you know, screens, computers, whatever. But that's their language. So to sort of completely take it away doesn't necessarily make sense. This is their life now. So it is about finding the balance, which is where you were headed before. So, you know, having that outside time, reading. And I think I love reading because it's great for their creativity and what you read when, you know, we talk about screen time, you sort of take that curiosity factor away a bit.
And they need to be able to do a whole facet of things these days because their jobs are not going to be just one job for their lifetime. Like in my career, they're going to have to be able to do a multitude of things. So they're going to need to be fluid and need to be able to switch and change out. So I think teaching them that not everything is over on the screen, that there's a whole myriad of life somewhere else.
Absolutely.
Is what they need to
Life
be taught.
skills, yeah. So, I mean, we talked about reading, we talked about being outside,
Yes.
which is a huge one. And that's
Sports, music.
What I get my kids to do, and they didn't like it, but I did get them to do it for a while there, is when they came home, they were so bad at telling me how their day was that I'd be like, okay, write the story down. So I'd get them to start writing about their day or writing a story and that sort of thing, so to get them to put that information down. And it's just another way for them to extend themselves, I think.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, I think there's lots of things you can do.
Yeah.
But, I mean, outside's the best. Well, okay, it is for our family. That's something that we really resonate with. But there are lots of opportunities to go beyond the screen. And I feel like we say this a lot, but it's so true. It's about being intentional about doing those things, because you can think, you know, life just slips by.
Yeah, it does. And it's, like you said, intentional. Work out what you want your children to do. And if you set the example, like if you're always in front of the screen, where do you think they're going to be?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I know. Putting that screen down, even at dinner time, is something that you've just got to be conscious about doing. That is all that we have got time for today. It was good to have you. We would love for you to join our Mums at the Table group on Facebook, and we have also got a magazine you can subscribe to, just $15 for the year. That's it. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.